When the Queen awakens, Sophie convinces her that all of her dream was true. Because the dream included the knowledge that Sophie would be there when she woke up, the Queen believes her and speaks with the BFG.
Right, so the Queen of England plots with giants. I always knew that woman was weird.
This coming from a guy who likes to read comic books about a midget Viking.
His name is Asterix, Hewy, and he's a Gaul, not a Viking.
Eventually, a huge fleet of RAF helicopters follows the BFG to the giants' homeland. While the child-eating giants are asleep, the army ties them up, planning to hang them under several helicopters each and transport them to London, where a special large pit has been constructed from which they will not be able to escape.
Well, that's all those giants gone for good.
Yeah, good riddance. What the hell was that? Oh my god, you can't be serious. One of the giants is still at large?
Correct. It seems that the only one spared from being trapped is the Flesh Lump Eater giant, the most vicious and frightening giant of all, who immediately goes after BFG. After a struggle, he's finally subdued with a nightmare BFG caught earlier in the film, and is carried away with the rest. As punishment for their lifetimes of child eating, the giants are forced to eat snozcumbers for the rest of their lives, fed to them by the orphanage's previous owner, Miss Clonkers.
Afterwards, the Queen offers Sophie a place to stay in her palace along with all the other girls from the orphanage. The BFG is offered a castle to live in, but instead he asserts his duty to continue making dreams for children. Sophie cannot bear to part with the BFG, so she decides to remain with him hereafter.
Wait. That's not how the book ended.
I know, Retro.
The book was written by Roald Dahl, who also wrote The Witches, James and the Giant Peach, and his most famous book, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, all of which have been adapted into movies themselves. In the original book, the BFG stays in England with Sophie and takes speaking lessons.
I think the ending was changed because if the BFG lives in England, then who's gonna give children their dreams?
Well, that's very true. But speaking of Roald Dahl, didn't he look down on adaptations of his stories?
It's true that Roald Dahl disliked the movie adaptations of his books, but according to Brian Cosgrove, the producer of the movie, when Roald Dahl saw his first screening of the film, when it ended and the lights went up, Dahl stood up and clapped. So he really must have liked this movie.
Hey, now that's some interesting trivia.
Actually, do you know that remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? I actually believe that if Roald Dahl was still alive, he would probably have enjoyed that movie too, since it follows the book more closely than the previous film, which he didn't like. Now don't get me wrong, I loved the original movie, but I enjoyed the new one too. What about you, Hewy? Do you agree?
I do agree. Since his death, filmmakers have tried harder to stay closer to Roald Dahl's books when they make him into movies.
If only they tried it sooner.
But anyhow, this is probably one of the best Roald Dahl adaptations in my opinion. It's not just a great adaptation of the book, but it's everything. The casting was great. David Jason does a fantastic job as the BFG. It's probably his best performance yet. I mean, never mind Danger Mouse, Count Duckula, or even Del Boy Trotter. There is only the Big Friendly Giant.
Wow, you're really excited.
You bet. But that's only part of why I love this movie. I mean, there's not a lot of music in the film, but when there is, it's just gorgeous. It has such a surreal fantasy nature. It's awesome.
Especially the sequence in Dream Country. It is just absolutely stunning. I love it. It is just breathtaking. All in all, the BFG is one of Roald Dahl's best works and one of Britain's finest movies. It's a little strange at some points, even frightening, but I think kids, adults, and fans of the book will love it. I give it 4 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all for now. I'd like to thank VGRetro for joining me today on this animated movie review.
It was a pleasure to be here, Hewy.
Anytime, Retro. Now, if you excuse me, I have some business to attend to.
So how was that?
Oh, that was a wonderful review, Mr. Lewis. I'm so happy. I think I'd do a wish pop-up.
Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. It's okay. You don't need to do a waste popper. No, no, don't. See you at the movies. Anime movies, that is. Oh boy.